Good afternoon and welcome to last week's news, the show that we review the top 5 news of last week. And as always, I'm the Angry CEO. Now let's begin. Starting off with news number 1 in Canada. This past Friday, the S&P at the opening took a 500-point drop, and also the price of the oil barrel dropped below $80 US. Moving on to stock-related news that happened last week, where many players did decisions after market. And we're talking about companies like Costco, DocuSign, Guidewire, and Scholastic, disclosing information after the closing of the stock markets. Is this a new trend for companies to release information to not affect the stock prices during the day? We shall see, but some of the news is fairly quite important. One of these companies was Costco, which reported their fiscal fourth quarter after hours effectively went down by 2.8%. Another company was Scholastic, like I mentioned. The education company fell 2% after reporting an 82% decline in fiscal first quarter operating income and 74% lower earnings before tax. Keeping on with the news related to everything that's finance, as always, we will be talking about the Fed. The Fed this week on Wednesday increased the rates by 0.75%. Interestingly enough, Jerome Powell forecasted that that the Fed will continue hiking interest rates all the way to 4.6% before ending inflation fight. But not all of Wall Street agrees with this decision. Much like Michael Schumacher, and no, not the F1 driver. We're talking about Michael Schumacher, the managing director of Wells Fargo, which his tactic would be to raise interest rate by 150 basis points in one go. And I quote, "This would require incredible good communication and confidence, or the result would be carnage." And nobody wants that. No, Michael, nobody wants carnage. Now returning to Canada, regarding the grocery bill. Groceries were up by 10.8% over August 2021 to 2022, the fastest pace recorded since 1981. Last month, we saw a big year-to-year jump on prices for baked goods, up by 15.4%, condiments, spice, and vinegar, up by 17.2%, non-alcoholic beverages up by 14.1%, and fresh fruit up by 13.2%. As always, the usual culprits for this rampant inflation are the usual suspects: war in Ukraine, disruption of the global supply chain, and extreme weather. And finally, moving on to the good news of the week. A man visits 67 pubs in 24 hours to break world record. Nathan Crimp took on the record for the most visited pubs in 24 hours. He ended up visiting 67 pubs in Brighton, England in the span of 17 hours. His plan was to try to keep sober for the first 25 pubs, but after the 15th, that plan did not work. But as a true trooper, Nathan pushed through, and 17 hours later, and God knows how many drinks, he won his record. The Guinness rules required Crimp to have a drink at each pub and collect evidence including receipts and witness signature. With such great news, I too think it's time to have a good drink. Invercio, proud sponsor of this news, and a great way to start the week.